My name is Norah, and I've been running for a year and a half.
My name's Joslyn. I've been running for 4 months.
And this is
Running Our Mouths,
where we talk about everything.
Everything.
About our running journeys. I'm really excited for our conversation today because Joslyn is going to give us a peek into her 5K that she did in February.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Before we get into that, how's your running going this week?
It's going okay.
Okay.
Good, not great.
What would make it great?
Probably if I had run more than 2 miles yesterday. I was supposed to run 3 and I ran 2, which is fine. That's not a big deal. But the reason I ran 2 is because I ate a whole bucket of popcorn at the Alamo and 2 bowls of ice cream during work. So I simply could not.
Ice cream at work.
Listen, they take care of us.
They really do.
It was celebrating the Rangers. It was celebrating the opening of the baseball season.
Okay, yes, I did hear that. You're remembering the Alamo, you're eating too much popcorn, you're eating too much ice cream.
And so I just didn't have it in me. I did not have it in me to run harder.
You're not using unleaded fuel this week for your runs.
That's exactly right.
And that's okay. Eat what you want.
That's right.
Yeah.
In this season of my running life, I am trying to, like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm trying to build my motivation back up. I'm trying to get my discipline back, but not be super militant about it because I don't need to be right now. I'm going to have plenty of time for that when I'm training for Chicago starting in June. So for right now, I want to enjoy my life, enjoy my running, not stress myself out over it. So if I eat too much and I'm going to throw up if I run, I don't need to be going too hard. Yeah. How about you? How's your running going this week?
Great. I did my first run of the week yesterday, and I did 2.5, I think. So I went further than you yesterday. I'm pretty proud of that. Ran the whole time, and I'm working on my pace. I've been doing those styles of runs that you don't like to say the word of.
That's right.
The Swedish ones.
The Swedish ones.
But yesterday, I just put on the headphones, turned on the music, and we just went. I was aiming for about 12 minutes a mile, and I was at about 12:20, so I'm getting close.
That's awesome.
Well, should we dive in?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, your 5K.
So a lot of positives. I don't want to say negatives, but some things that I will be more vigilant about next time. Yeah. Maybe, I would say.
Totally. So let's back up.
Sure.
What is a 5K?
Ooh, great question. A 5K, the K is for kilometers, and when you change that into miles, it's 3.1 miles.
Got it.
Of walking or running or some combination of both. I had been training for this since December, so I was able to run the whole way, and I was very proud to have done that. That was pretty exciting for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It wasn't my first 5K, but it was my first 5K where I was determined to run the whole time.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah, and it was great. The weather was really nice that day, but I used a program called Couch to 5K, which used to be free. Used to be.
It's really not anymore?
It's really not anymore.
Wow.
Maybe there are some versions of the app that are, but I guess the one that I had, the first week was free, and then it was upgrade to premium to access the rest of these. And I was like, you know what? It's $15. I'll pay it once, and then I'll be done with it.
Yeah. And now the actual app is called Couch to 5K.
Couch to 5K, yes. Which I think is a, quote, branded training method. But you can find the same training methods, similar names that are probably free.
Okay.
But I paid for mine, and it was fine. I got the audio cues and stuff, which was great, so I didn't have to be, watching my phone or watching my watch. And it would just tell me when to walk or run. And it got me to where I was able to run the whole way.
That's awesome. So with the training plan, so you got the Couch to 5K app. Does it have different options for training plan, or is it one size fits all?
It's one size fits all,
That's
which, yeah, it's great if you just want a place to start. I think it would be better to be more customized, though. It's expecting you to have started from, nothing, which is awesome, because I was starting from, being extremely out of practice for physical exercise.
Sure.
So that was good to start at nothing, but it's expecting you by the end of the program to be able to run a 5K in 30 minutes.
Yeah, so
to go from nothing to
30. Yeah, that's pretty fast.
It's very fast. It's doable for some people. It's certainly not doable for me. I'm still working on getting my minute per mile under 13. So,
sure.
It's fine. Anyway, it helped me get ready for sure. So the week leading up to the race, this was the same week leading up to your Cowtown week, because we did our race on the same day, and everybody was sick.
Yes, I remember it well. Ugh.
I had strep throat. I literally went to the doctor, and they were like, actually you have strep throat. Whatever it was, it happened fast. But I was able to go to the doctor the same day. I had strep throat. That sucked. The weekend before the race, I was in Glen Rose, and there's a track that I love running on. And I fell, not even during my run. It was after I'd finished my run, ran with Kenny, and I ran with my brother. My brother was actually healing. Joey was done, Kenny was finished, and he was walking back to do like a cool down with me. And we start talking, and I'm looking up at him, and my foot, like I step off the track accidentally, and boom, I hit the ground.
Oh no.
It was fine. It really was just like a skin deep injury.
Yeah, and we talked about this.
Yeah, I started icing it right away. I was lifting it. I was doing everything that I needed to do to make sure it wasn't going to be like bad, because I was doing that race in a week and a day from when that happened.
You fell. It was skin deep. You did all the things you needed to do. But I want to circle back to your training before we get to race day. So what did the Couch to 5K program have you doing? It was some running and walking. How many times a week? What did the plan look like?
Yeah, 3 times a week, which was super doable for me.
Totally.
I like to do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I will do some yoga on those days off sometimes, but sometimes I'll just literally do nothing, and it's it just works really great for my schedule.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. I think that's a great place to be.
Yeah, definitely. The training plans, it's like leveling up each week, basically. So you start mostly walking, tiny bit of running. Second week, a lot of walking, a little more running. And then it just keeps going until you're at like week 8. And by then you're running for a full 30 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. They add on a 5-minute warm up and a 5-minute cool down. So if you're moving at a pretty good clip with that walk, you could totally do 3.1 in 40 minutes.
I think that's an awesome plan. I think that's an awesome place to start. I totally agree with you though. Like, to prepare someone to run a 5K in under 30 minutes, that doesn't seem
doable.
Like the way to do it, probably, for me.
Sure. Because on race day, I'm not trying to do a warm-up. I'm not trying to do a cool-down. I'm trying to run the whole way. Right. I'm not going to run 3.1 miles in 30 minutes or under 30 minutes.
Right.
Some people are. Some people can.
Sure.
A lot of people in our run group can do that. I'm just not one of them.
Yeah, and if the plan... Yet. And I feel confident that you will be, if that's a goal for you. And if not, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have you only running for like the full 30 minutes toward the end of the plan, rather than incorporating like any speed work or any race pace, small intervals of running, that seems challenging to me. But still seems like a great plan to go from couch to 5K. Like, for what it is called, I think it sounds awesome.
It definitely promises, or it definitely delivers on what it promises. But there's no speed work. There's no like running, jogging intervals. There's no sprinting, running intervals. It is walking and running intervals. But it does a great job of easing you into it. And then you're able to run for 3.1 miles without stopping.
Which is incredible. And I think it's so intimidating. Like we've talked about, so many people will say to us, oh, you run, I can't even run for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, I bet you can, but if your running plan, when you start out, it just has you running for 30 seconds or something, that's so achievable to most people, I feel like.
I think the first week, we could even pull it up, of Couch to 5K is like, you're walking for 3 minutes, you're jogging for 45 seconds.
Right.
Like, very, very doable. Very achievable.
Just on an intellectual level, it feels very attainable.
Oh,
I like
absolutely.
Cool. Okay, take me back to the weekend before the race. You fell. What happened then?
Well, I'm really lucky that I was in Glen Rose when it happened, because we were staying with my parents. Love them. Adore them. They're pretty awesome. My mother had knee surgery. Because she had her knee replaced, she had this really amazing frozen gel. Have you seen these things? Do you get them at like the physical therapist? Where it's like, it's a gel that you put in the freezer. It's like a ice pack, right? Okay. But it's a moldable gel that's like frozen but moldable.
I want that.
So I'm like putting it on my knee, and it's like touching all of my knee. Like, it's not like just one part of it that I have to move. Dude.
Is it moldable when it's frozen?
It is moldable when it's frozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta get me one
Yeah,
of
it's
those.
not like freezing ice or like freezing water to make ice, where it's like just gonna be
the shape
solid.
that it is. Yeah.
It's like frozen slime. So yeah, recovering from that, doing my last week of trainings.
So the race, was the course a place where you had run before? Were you familiar with it?
Kind of. So it was at North Lakes Park. They posted the route a few days before the race, which I thought was a little late.
Yeah, that's pretty late to me.
Yeah, but then they changed the route the day of the race too.
Oh, cool. Casual.
Dude. It was wild.
Crazy.
But I'm really, really glad that they changed the route, because we went and ran the route that they had mapped. It was horrible.
Really?
Horrible. Do you know where like the dirt kind of not paved because it's dirt, little turnoff for where you like start the disc golf course.
Yes.
Okay, that was part of the trail that they were having us run on. I'm like, there is so much sidewalk. There is that lifted
so many
trail
that
goes by the water. Amazing. Why aren't y'all doing that? Yeah. It was crazy to be running on the sidewalk and then to be running next to the road on Sherman and then to get off the sidewalk onto the dirt. It was rough. I remember running it while we were practicing and I was like, I can't do this. No, there is no way I'm going to be able to do this again.
Yeah, I think having like a mixed course like that where some of it is paved and some of it is more trail that's fine. That's a thing, but you have to tell people before. People have to be able to prepare for that. You have to train specifically to run on that kind of surface.
Yeah, and it wasn't like trail run 5K. It was just 5K at North Lakes Park. And they posted the route a few days before the race. Okay, so we go to practice the route. It sucks. It's a there and back. That's fine. I don't love it, but it's fine. So not only are you doing the dirt path, you're doing the dirt path twice.
Oh, no.
You got to get back on that shit. Yeah. It was rough. Ugh. Okay, so we practiced that. It's horrible. So I'm being cranky about it. I'm like, this is so unorganized, blah, blah, blah. Why would they do the route this way? It's terrible.
How did you end up at this race? Like, how did you choose this 5K for your first running 5K?
So beginning of the year, I had been doing the Couch to 5K thing from like late December.
So you started the Couch to 5K without having like a specific race in mind?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
I just knew I wanted to get back into running and I thought I need something to keep me motivated, and I think races are obviously a great way to stay motivated because you're paying money to do those.
Right. You're paying for that banana.
You're paying. Well, I actually hate bananas.
Me too.
Do you know this? Okay, yes, because we have
We've
talked about this. God, I remember literally I was in the bath. I was taking a bath to like recover from my run.
That sounds
and thinking I should sign up for a race and looking like 5Ks near Denton. Boom, that one popped up on Run Sign Up. Is that the website?
Yep.
It was like $30. I was like, yeah, we could totally do that.
Love it. Okay. So race day, they changed the course?
They changed the course on race day.
How did you find out about this?
I think it was like at 6:37 that morning. They were like, oh, the route changed. And I was so relieved because that route that they had posted initially sucked ass. So I was so glad to have a different route.
Right.
But that's not a normal thing to happen, right?
Well, I think for maybe like a smaller 5K, depending on like who the organizers are, I haven't run into that happening. I have not run a lot of 5Ks at all, just the one.
I think this is the third 5K I've done in my life. First one I've run. The other two were well thought out. The route was known when the 5K was planned. It was posted the same day like the 5K was posted. Like it was...
Yeah, I think this is, can be kind of instructive for our listeners about when you do sign up for a race, looking at what other races this outfit has put on, checking out their social media, their website, whatever information they have to show
it's legit.
Yeah, to show it's legit. Not that this wasn't legit, but just to see how they're organizing their operation.
Yeah, it could have been better organized. Route changes. I'm relieved, but also irritated. Like, relieved that the route's going to be better. It looks much better. Irritated that we didn't know until the day of the race.
Yeah.
But maybe that was intentional. Maybe it's like, oh, that way people can't practice on the route.
I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
Sounds just kind of haphazard and like poorly planned.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that because I had the same thoughts, but I was like, maybe it's strategic. There was nothing strategic.
That would be so mean. Like, what a cruel strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I haven't gone out and like run a course before race day. I know that's pretty common. I remember in cross country, we used to walk the course. Usually it would be like a loop in cross country in high school. You run a 5K, so 3.1. And sometimes it would be like an out and back or a double loop. And so we'd walk for most of it.
And I like that because that way you're actually like taking in the scenery and knowing when you're going to turn, looking for cues of like, I'm halfway done. I'm 3/4 done. I'm
where the hills are going to be, where the spectators are going to be, where... Especially with cross-country races, right? It's trails. Some of the terrain is kind of treacherous. So having that, like, no, seriously, the routes in the woods in Maine, crazy.
Yeah,
no wonder I was walking. No wonder I hated it.
No wonder you had safety as your primary concern.
Yeah, totally. So yes, I think we can agree it was probably just some poor planning.
I think you might be right, unfortunately. So we show up, routes change. That's fine. I think the race was starting at 9. We arrive around 8:30. It looks deserted.
Really?
We're like, where is everybody? Are we in the wrong spot?
Wow.
I check on the race page and it's like, if you're having trouble finding us, we're actually over here. We were in the wrong spot because we were at where the map showed that the route was starting.
That makes sense.
That would make sense.
Where else would you go?
Your like race HQ, right? So I think the starting line was actually different from what the route map posted too, because when we did finally find where they were, which was right in front of the rec center, makes sense. That was where we started. But it wasn't what the map looked like to me or to who I was running with, who's really good at map. Yeah. I'm not very good at map. I'm not good at direction at all.
I'm so bad at maps.
I'm glad to hear you say that too.
Good to have a running buddy who is good at maps.
Which is why I was like, we need to do the course beforehand because I will get lost. There's so many people I would not have gotten lost, but
still, I get the concern.
Finally, we get to where we need to be. They're playing Christian music, which is fine.
Sure.
It's fine that they were playing Christian music. I love a good worship song on a Saturday morning. I love a good hymn. I love a good reverential song.
Yeah.
You know, that's great.
Sometimes you gotta lift the hands.
Sometimes, Lord, I'll lift your name on high.
When the Spirit moves.
Yes. When you move, I move. Just like that. Is that a Christian song?
It could be.
Probably not.
Maybe
it was like
is.
Toby Mac style.
So it was like CCM, like contemporary.
It's like adult contemporary. It wasn't really country vibes though. I can get down with some country.
But like pop.
Yeah, just weird. And like it just sounds like stuff that was playing all the time at my Baptist church growing up that's like not biblical, not
just trying to make you feel a certain way, maybe.
Yeah, it was just weird vibes. And for me, somebody who had been told what I could or couldn't do or could or couldn't be because of the church that I grew up going to, it was difficult to be hearing that music when I'm about to do something that's like so not religiously affiliated. You know?
Yeah, it seems like that might be many people's pump-up music,
totally
and that's
fine.
So valid.
I have no problem with that. What was so strange to me is that we're in Denton, first of all. There's so many different religious...
That's a choice.
Yeah. So many different religions here represented in this little pocket. Yeah. So many non-religions represented in this little pocket. Like, what an isolating music choice.
Yeah, it just seems not inclusive of, like, all the people who could be running. And it wasn't clear to you, right? Like, no. There was nothing to indicate that.
That's another thing where I was like, maybe I didn't research this brand enough because there was nothing about the name, nothing about the posting, nothing about the iconography that seemed religious in any way. So it was such a jump scare to be listening to like Toby Mac. Oh my God, it was wild. Anyway, so that was like a boo for the starting of the race where I'm like, I'm there to run. I'm there. I'm not worried about my beliefs. I'm not worried about my gender. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just worried about doing a race.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I was actually feeling nervous about running, which I did not expect to feel nervous. People talk about race day jitters and I'm like, oh yeah, I bet I'll feel excited about, you know, it's the race day, blah blah blah, but I was like nervous, not like anxious, which I'm anxious all the time, but it was just like excitement, butterflies. Remember butterflies? Remember getting butterflies?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm feeling jittery. My like family's texting me like, hey, good luck on the race and blah blah blah, and I'm like, this is so not a big deal. Why are people treating it like it's a big deal? But maybe it is a big deal.
I think it's a big deal.
It was really cool to run the whole way. I was very proud of that accomplishment.
You should be. That's a big deal. That's challenging. That's really cool. And it's so cool to have that as a goal and then to do it. Incredible.
Done. Check that off my list. My goal was to be around 40 minutes. When I did the practice route, the route that was bad before they changed it, my time was like 43 minutes.
Yeah.
Knowing what the route was going to be and then them changing the route to be less on the dirt. I was like, I bet I could do around 40 minutes. And I was 38 minutes in something. So
Incredible.
I was really glad. And I pushed it at the end. Like I was sprinting across that finish line.
I love it.
That was cool. Yeah.
What a good feeling.
And Kenny was there clapping for me.
Yeah.
It was so nice. Yeah.
Good job. Mm-hmm. How was the post race? Did they have anything going on or just kind of got your finisher medal?
Still blasting Christian music.
Okay.
They had chocolate milk, they had bananas, they had granola bars.
Okay.
I grabbed a granola bar. I think I grabbed a bottle of water, which is so unlike me. I always have my water with me, but it was like somebody put it in my hand and I was like, hell yeah.
I'm
gonna drink that cold water.
Yeah,
it was great. I think somebody had pickle juice, got my medal, and we take a picture, we sit down for a little bit, I drink a Gatorade, we're sipping on some water, and that was it. I felt really proud.
Good.
Yeah, it was great.
So any takeaways, any lessons you feel like you learned from this 5K?
Lots. Like you were saying, I learned to thoroughly research a organization before you sign up for their race.
For sure.
Check their legitimacy. Check and see if they've organized races before. This may have been this organization's first race that they organized. It certainly felt that way.
Yeah. Were there a lot of people?
I think there were about 120 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Which I think I ended like 58th. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm a slow runner. I was 6th in my age group, my age and gender
incredible.
group, which I was like, that actually rocks. Like, that was great. So it was nice to know that even though I do run slow, I'm not the slowest runner. Not to be, when I start comparing myself to others, that's when I start feeling really sad about things. But it was nice to know, like, I've made progress.
You've made progress.
That was the, like, comparing to myself, the other 5Ks I'd done, I'd walked.
Yeah.
It took me almost an hour to do them. This, I ran it 38 minutes. That was awesome.
So what's next?
Next is our Cinco de Mayo race, which we've talked about before. We're super excited. I'm doing 5K.
Awesome.
Excited about that. I'm just excited to have some consistency in the races that I'm doing so that I keep up with my training. Another goal for the future, eventually, maybe next year, is bumping up that mileage. I'm thinking it might be fun to train for a 10K.
Yes.
You've never done a 10K, right?
I haven't. We should do our first 10K together.
That'd be fun and hilarious.
I want to do that.
Oh my God. I like that.
10Ks scare me, actually.
Yeah, because it's kind of this weird mix of you're going the distance, but you need to move quickly at that distance.
Right.
Yeah.
Because for a half marathon, you know, I kind of like, it's endurance.
Mm-hmm.
I can take a pace that feels like not easy, but like more relaxed, comfortable, and I can like settle into that for quite a while before I want to like kick at the end.
Yeah.
A 5K, maybe I'm like trying as hard as I can or almost as hard as I can for a shorter period of time.
Right.
A 10K, it's not super long distance, but it's definitely not short either. So it's just hard to know how to approach it from like a strategy standpoint for me.
6.2 miles, right?
Right.
I love the 5K because I love the 5K training. Like, it's a 30-minute workout. If I just want to do 2 miles, 2.5 miles, I am out the door and back home in a half an hour.
I think that's the other thing people don't think about with longer races and training. Like, sure, if you are super, super fast and you're going to run your marathon or half marathon or 10K or whatever with like 7-minute miles, even 8-minute miles, your training, even at your comfortable pace training, is going to take a much shorter time than someone like me or you who is running, whose goal pace is slower than that. So then our easy conversational training pace is going to be that much slower.
Yeah.
So then my Sunday long run, which might take a fast runner like an hour and a half, maybe it takes me 2 hours.
Right.
That's part of my day. Like that's a really significant part of my day. So that's the thing with training for anything longer than a 5K. You have to get a long run in there. And I think even for a 5K, it can be good to get a long run in your trainings.
Absolutely. One of the training things that I'm doing now with Runkeeper, there's a 4-mile run in one of the training things that I'm doing, which I'm like, well, I don't need to run 4 miles, but that's pretty doable. It would take some extra time, but it would be good, and then it'll make 3 miles feel like nothing. If we did our first 10K together, I would want it to be maybe sometime next spring because you and I both love a cold run.
Train in the winter. That would be great because I'm running Chicago in October. So I was thinking maybe we could do the Cowtown 10K.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, because
that would
February.
Actually be great. Yeah, totally.
Let's
Cowtown
do it.
10K 2025.
Let's do it. You're on.
Boom.
Booked.
Boom. I'm worried about how much time it'll take. It's going to be like hour-long workouts rather than 30-minute workouts, which for me, working with kids and needing to get as much rest as I can, it's going to be difficult to find nights of the week where I can spend an hour working out multiple nights a week.
I would really recommend like the Sunday long run.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. Or even the Saturday long run. Like by that time, who knows how our run group will have evolved. Like if we want to do a weeknight short run and a longer run on the weekend together. That's what a lot of running groups do. And even like the way I've been treating the Saturdays for my training is like they're kind of optional on my schedule. So if I wanted to walk, like if there's a walker there who comes to our run group who has never been before, who doesn't know anyone, like I am totally prepared to walk with them. Like, because I don't need to get those 3 miles in for my training.
Yeah.
So if you treat the Saturday run in that way, and then you're not too worn out for a Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I guess I need to look at some 10K training plans then. Cool.
But before we wrap up the episode, we have to address something.
We have to. Huge.
It's huge. It's embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing because
we're Twilight fans.
Because we're twihards.
We are, and no one's going to believe us.
I have Midnight Sun on my shelf. Like
I'm looking at it. She does.
When did the first one come out? When we were like, what, 14, 15?
Younger than that, I think.
Okay.
But no one's going to believe us, Joslyn, because of what we did.
We messed up.
We messed up, and we have to issue a retraction of our statements.
We do.
And we have to issue an apology to our fans, to our listeners.
Multiple people have reached out to us to say, you were wrong about Twilight, and we are here to humbly ask for your forgiveness.
And we have to hand it to Sienna, a friend of the podcast, for being the first to come forward with this information, which, of course, if you're listening, then you know what we said. What we said very
confidently.
We were so loud and so wrong about the reason that Bella needed to run in New Moon, the second installment of the Twilight Saga. We said that
Edward was going to blow up
and burst into flame.
Which the reason...
I think I was just taking like traditional vampire lore, and that was what was in the front of my mind.
Sure.
And I think I was a little nervous. Our first recording.
Yeah. And we got the facts wrong.
And there's no excuse for that. So we are sorry.
We humbly apologize. Please, we ask for your forgiveness. We ask for your understanding.
Because, of course, what actually happened is Edward was going to step into the sun, not because he was going to burst into flame, but because he would sparkle, revealing himself to the crowd, which would, of course, cause the
I don't
like
the phrase revealing himself, by the way.
Well, I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Revealing himself to be a vampire.
Which would cause the Volturi to have to kill him.
To get his ass.
So it was more of a suicide by cop situation than a bursting into flame situation.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say about that. We're sorry. We won't let it happen again. But truth be told, we might.
We probably will mess up again.
So thank you for accepting our apology. Yes. Thank you for providing us the feedback.
Yeah. And
please
thank
send
you for
feedback.
Thoughtfully listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
An constructive feedback.
An engaged listenership.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you like what you hear, leave us a rating, leave us a review.
5 stars only, please.
5 stars only. If you don't like what you hear, you can leave a rating and review, but it will probably make us sad.
Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you. That's our show. We'll see you next time.